In this video, I'm going to give you the ultimate guide on how to choose student accommodation in the UK. This advice will also apply if you're looking to book accommodation anywhere else in the world. But my examples are going to be based on the UK because that's where I have studied. So if you want to find out how to make the right decision when it comes to student accommodation, then keep on watching. Hi guys, I'm Valeria and this is the Grad. On this YouTube channel, I share advice for studying and working in the UK. Before we begin, I wish to let you know that this video is done in partnership with UniAcco. UniAcco is a leading pro-tech company catering students looking for the right advice and best suited accommodation. UniAcco has more than 400,000 beds on its platform across more than 80 cities in the UK, Australia, Ireland and more. So it's one of the largest portfolios of student accommodation properties. The customer support is available around the clock and it's completely free of cost for students. UniAcco has extremely high Trustpilot rating of 4.9 and they have already helped more than 35,000 students to book accommodation in the UK and beyond. So if you wish to check out the UniAcco website, the link is in the description of this video, and I personally was very impressed how quick and convenient it is to search for accommodation on UniAcco website. So how do you actually choose the right student accommodation for yourself when there are so many options available? I remember when I was about to move to Nottingham, I was so confused about the facilities, the terms, the costs and so on. So the first thing you should consider is whether you're going to go for student accommodation or you're going to rent privately. Student accommodation is the facility designed specifically for students and students only. It is run for their needs. It can easily be provided by your university or by a private company. Renting privately is different. It's basically like renting a flat or a room or a house in your own country when you move into a new location. Also, usually in the first year of bachelor's degree or when you're coming to study masters in the UK, a lot of students choose to go for student accommodation because it's easier. I personally done that in my first year of bachelor's at Nottingham, and during my master's at UCL in London, I lived in student accommodation. So when you choose student accommodation, there are two options: university halls and private halls. So university halls are provided by university, as I mentioned, and they're usually owned by university in terms of building and location, and private halls are provided by external company. It depends on university, but it could be that there are not that many places available that are going to be provided by university halls, so quite often international students go for private halls. I think for master's students it's quite limited in terms of how many places is provided by university halls. There are usually a few differences between university halls and private halls. From my experience, and obviously I haven't lived in every single hall in the UK, but I've noticed the university halls are usually less modern and they have less flexibility in terms of which room you can go for. My experience was such that you apply and you ask for a specific room and specific location, but the university allocates whatever is available, so you might not get the type of hall you want or type of room you want. With private halls, there are usually more options available in terms of privacy, space and location, and you will know what you are booking, so you kind of definitely know what kind of room you're getting. No matter what you'll go for, student accommodation provided by university or private student accommodation, there are few things you need to consider when making a choice. First one, and I think that's the most important one, which is location. Why? Because location will define a lot of things. How much time it takes you to get to lectures, how much it costs you to get to lectures. In terms of location, you can live on campus, off campus, near campus, or really far away from campus. Campus is basically university facilities, which include lecture buildings, libraries, shops, maybe a few other specifically designed buildings for university. Living on campus is super convenient. You're like in a bubble of students, but at the same time it's like living in the small world surrounded by students every single day. So some people like to live a bit off campus or live even far away from campus because they want to explore more of the city, and also sometimes living far away from campus could be a more cost-efficient option. Not always, so it is kind of a balance. Sometimes living more far away, especially in London, could mean that the accommodation is cheaper. But at the same time, you have to think about the cost of transport. So how many times a week will you travel to your university? How much it will cost? Are you going to walk, take a bike, take a tube, bus, and so on? I do recommend clearly knowing where you have to be at your university and how far you'll have to travel. On accommodation websites such as UniAcco, you can filter by university name and clearly see on a map the location of your student accommodation. The next thing you need to think about is whether to go for catered or self-catered accommodation. I really didn't know what it means before coming to the UK to study, but catered is basically with food provided. Self-catered is you provide your own meals. University halls will have an option to go for catered or self-catered, while private accommodation is usually self-catered. So for catered, what are the good things? The good thing is that it is time and cost efficient. You don't have to think about planning your meals, how much it will cost. You already pay in advance. You don't have to cook, shop for ingredients, and so on. And obviously you don't have to wash dishes. It is very social, so you'll share meals with people. Usually breakfast, lunch, and dinner will be in a social setting, in a dining hall or some kind of restaurant. But social can also be a disadvantage because you're tired, you're always eating around people, are not able to eat peacefully while watching Netflix. You kind of have to share your meal with people, or eat in a room full of people if it's not the coronavirus pandemic. Another disadvantage is that you're not that flexible on the time you can eat and the options you can eat. For many people, self-catered is a good option, especially when they picky about the food or they really don't want to be stuck in a social setting. You have the flexibility what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat it. You can even use your hands, no one is watching. But it can be harder to plan your budget because, let's be frank, students are not very good at managing the time or the budget, and you might end up eating instant noodles every day. Next thing you need to consider, which is kitchen. You need to really be clear on what kitchen facilities are going to be there. Whether you're on self-catered or catered accommodation, just be clear on what other facilities you'll have in terms of preparing food. It could be that it'll be a shared kitchen, and that's usually a more cost-efficient option. So you'll share a kitchen with a few people, either a corridor or 5-6 people in one flat, and you need to be prepared for that. Or you can have your own kitchen, which is more expensive but quite convenient for someone that likes their own privacy, or someone that wants to have a small kind of apartment or studio in the room and they're not relying on sharing their space or fridge or stove with anyone else. Obviously, I think it's quite convenient to have your own kitchen, but it's going to be way more expensive. If you want to make friends and you want to socialize, sharing a kitchen is quite a good option to make new friends and not be stuck in your room all day. The next thing you need to consider when choosing student accommodation is having an ensuite or a shared bathroom. Again, to fellow friends that don't know what ensuite means, it means having your own bathroom facilities in your room. I'm not going to go into advantages and disadvantages of having your own bathroom or sharing it with someone else. So when I was a bachelor student at University of Nottingham, I had my own shower in my room, which was amazing. But I had to share bathroom or toilet with other people on the corridor. I don't remember how many people there were a lot. But I was lucky that at least I had my own shower. When I was a master's student, I realized that I'm probably a bit older now and want my privacy, so I had my own tiny bathroom, so a toilet and a shower, which was really, really convenient. Why people decide to share a bathroom? Because it's way more cost efficient, it is way cheaper, and also because sometimes the whole of your choice just wouldn't have a room with a private bathroom. But you can check whether your room has a sink. Sometimes some rooms in the UK will have a sink, so it kind of makes not having your own bathroom a little bit easier. The next point I wish to discuss when it comes to student accommodation is the type of room you're going to get. So you can either get a standard room or you can get a studio. What does it mean? A studio is basically a small flat packed in one room. That's what I had when I was studying my master's. I had a very tiny room, but it had a bed, a desk, a chair, a kitchen, which was like one part of the wall, and my own bathroom. It's basically like a little house within a room. That's called a studio. Obviously, there could be big studios, large studios, but it basically means having all facilities just for you. Obviously very convenient for many reasons, but at the same time it's more costly, and it is quite tiny. You're kind of packed in the small room and you have to cook near your bed and everything smells like food, and there is really no space at all. At least the type of studio I was renting was not that big. The next option is having your own room, and I think it could be called a single room or double room depending on the size of the bed. Obviously there are rooms that are different depending on the size and what they'll include, and usually this whole description is given to you when you book accommodation. It'll tell you how big the room is going to be, what's included in the room. The final thing that you have to consider when choosing student accommodation in the UK are costs. So why do I talk about cost in the end? Surely it's one of the most important things to consider. Well, because there are so many options in the UK available. I believe that with a realistic budget, you can always find something suited to your needs. You probably already know your budget, so now you have to figure out how to meet this budget with the priorities that you have, and perhaps trade off a few other things that are not that important for you. For example, if you really want to have your own bathroom, then you might have to live a bit further from campus. So don't be afraid to compromise, but really I believe that with the right research and dedication and the right accommodation provider, you wouldn't have a problem choosing the right option for you. For example, on UniAcco website, you can easily compare a few options of different properties based on more than 80 unique parameters from a particular city or nearby university. You can then decide what is worth your money and make the right choice. I'll leave the link in my video description so you can check out this option yourself. Before we finish this video, I have a final message for you. Even if you arrive to the UK and your student accommodation is a disaster, your room is small, it smells bad, the location is horrible, or maybe you just don't have the right budget to afford the room of your dreams, don't worry. You don't know how this adventure will change you. You don't know what kind of people you'll meet. It might be the best time of your life. So really enjoy the experience, because studying in the UK is an amazing opportunity. So I really wish you the best of luck. And if you have any questions about student accommodation in the UK, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys, and bye!